Hello everyone, my name is Sumit. I am a research scholar in JNU. So I'm here to guide you for your MA entrance preparation, particularly for JNU and for some other central universities. So there are a few questions. First of all, how difficult it is to crack JNU? It's quite difficult, obviously, as if you go by the comments of the people or who have applied and obviously didn't get through, so it's difficult. But if you just strategically, I would say, if you strategically make a plan for the preparation, or if you are guided properly, so it is not that difficult. आप लोगों को सीधी बात ये है कि सही तरह से प्रिपरेशन करना पड़ेगा और उसके लिए एक गाइडेड कोर्स वर्क होना जरूरी है. So today I'll be talking about the course work mainly, कि क्या पढ़ना चाहिए, क्या डिजाइन क्या होना चाहिए मेनली ऑब्वियसली, और किस हिसाब से यू कैन बी गाइडेड ऑब्वियसली सो दैट यू कैन क्रैक जेएनयू इवन एट अ फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट. एंड जिन लोगों का फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में नहीं हुआ और ऑब्वियसली फिर भी जेएनयू उन लोगों का ड्रीम है, सो ऑब्वियसली दिस इज द राइट टाइम फॉर यू गाइज. So first of all, this is the basic framework that I am going to discuss. There are 30 units I have actually designed. So you can see here, there are 30 units. I'll be talking about each, but not obviously in detail. So that will only be possible later. Not that later because it's already late. So you'll have to hurry up and start early. So obviously at the first class, I'll be talking about it. But in a very brief way, I'm just mentioning the topic or probably the unit so that you can basically understand what are the things you really need to cover. अब जिन लोगों को लग रहा है कि मुझे खुद से भी हो सकता है, तो उन लोगों के पास भी एक डिजाइन रहेगा कि कैसे हम कर सकते हैं. और जिन लोगों को लगता है कि थोड़ा बहुत गाइडेंस चाहिए, तो ऑब्वियसली मैं तो हुई. ठीक है. तो यूनिट 1 में आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडियन एंशिएंट लिटरेचर, एस्थेटिक्स, परफॉर्मेंस एंड पोएटिक ट्रेडिशन, मेनली फॉर जेएनयू. हम अगर देखें सो एफ्लो में नहीं आता, इस हिसाब से ये यूनिट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. इस यूनिट से बहुत क्वेश्चन आता भी है. दूसरा चीज, द सेकंड थिंग इज भक्ति एंड सूफी लिटरेचर, व्हिच इज डायरेक्टली not the part of English literature, but obviously if we look at Indian literature from the comparative methodology, Bhakti and Sufi literature, which is very important, and we really need to understand in terms of how culture is recycled, and obviously in a broader phenomena, how the literature or the mainly the tradition is very impactful in the making of Indian Bhasha literature or probably Indian literature as a whole. So if I talk about unit 3, that is about modern Indian literary movements, a basic discussion on the canonical text, the writers, and the translation of this text. Fourth one, which is very important, it is Indian English literature, Englishizing India, that I have actually commented. So why Indian English literature is important? It is important from the NEET perspective. It is also important from the JNU or even other, even BHU or obviously like EFLU. So these central universities. So this unit is very important, obviously, for all the central universities, and we just need to cover this unit very strategically because everything is not possibly read, everything cannot be read. Next is unit 5. I'm talking about post independence Indian theater. So आप लोगों को अगर क्वेश्चन पेपर देख सकते हो आप लोग, तो क्वेश्चन पेपर में बहुत मिलेगा पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस इंडियन थिएटर में, जहाँ पे सिर्फ इंग्लिश थिएटर नहीं, ऑब्वियसली डिफरेंट थिएटर ट्रेडिशंस एंड प्रैक्टिसेस, जैसे कि थिएटर ऑफ द रूट हो गया. सो यू कैन सिंपली बी आस्क्ड हु हैज रिटन extensively of theater of the root as a theoretical model. So obviously Suresh Awasthi का नाम आता है. Who is a real practitioner? Girish Karnad. So obviously Girish Karnad is very favorite, right? So next is German and French literature. उसके पहले obviously unit 6 में British literary history आता है, तो जो बहुत common है obviously किसी भी एग्जाम के लिए जो इंग्लिश और ह्यूमैनिटीज से मतलब जुड़े हुए हैं, चाहे गेट एग्जाम हो जाए, चाहे नेट हो जाए, चाहे obviously जेएनयू हो जाए. So British literary history, अब दो बुक है, दो किताबें है. Obviously I'll be talking about the books obviously in a separate maybe in a separate video, but soon I'll come with the video. So British literary history is very important. and German and French literary trajectory since the early modern era, which is there in Unit 7. So movement, thinkers, writers, and text, which is very important. This unit, because in JNU particularly, so there are questions from German and French literary phenomena, text, and obviously thinkers mainly, because these are very much connected with the English literature, and somehow these two European literary trends need to be understood in cognizance of, I would say, English literature. Next is world literature, ideas, argument, characteristics, text, authors. All these things we have to cover in a very strategic way. I'm again saying all these things cannot be read. So somehow you have to depend on a few, I would say, notes and probably your own reading, but it has to be again strategic, because what is asked mainly, I would say, important from the not only from the literary perspective but also from the perspective of a critical thinker. So आप लोगों को वो जो क्वेश्चन सेटर है उन लोगों के माइंडसेट से मतलब सोचना पड़ेगा, इसीलिए कभी कभी डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है सेल्फ स्टडी, बट ऑब्वियसली इफ यू आर गेटिंग a good guided, I would say, study plan and probably classes, so obviously it's up to you. You can join. Next is literature in translation. So translation of the colonial, I'm talking about the colonial. It's canonical world literary text, and obviously translation of colonial literature that way, that is very much termed as Oriental text. Next, Unit 10, which is all about genre, the generic methodology that we need to understand, but we really need to look at multiple European and Indian genres of literature. 11 is all about Renaissance to neoclassical drama. Romanticism, Renaissance to neoclassical drama is very important in this regard. And the next, Romanticism, Realism, and Naturalism is in Unit 13. Unit 14 is all about 19th century Europe and India compatibility spectre, because questions are asked that way. हम लोगों को भी समझ में आता है कि नहीं आता है कि ये क्वेश्चन क्यों पूछा गया है, तो इसीलिए हम लोगों को थोड़ा डिस्कर्सिव वे में एक स्टडी प्लान, एक डिजाइन बनाना चाहिए, जिस हिसाब से अगर कोई भी क्वेश्चन आता है एटलीस्ट ये तो पता रहे कि क्वेश्चन क्यों आया है. सो ऑब्वियसली दैट इज द रीजन आई हैव डिजाइन्ड इट दैट. ज्यादा यूनिट है लेकिन कम वक्त में खत्म हो सकते हैं. Unit 15 is all about art and literature, Indian and Europe. And Unit 16 is Indian performance, genealogy and historiography. Questions आता है इधर से भी. Post colonialism, ideas, debate, text, writers. आपको बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन मिल जाएगा इधर से. There are a few books that we really need to refer to and we really need to study extensively. Can't help that way. Unit 18 is modernist trends in the early 20th century, European dramas, novels, short stories, poetry. Then comes postmodern literature, then critical literary theory. अब एक सीक्वेंस लेके आप लोगों के मन में क्वेश्चन आ ही सकता है कि सीक्वेंस सही फॉलो होगा कि सीक्वेंस डिफरेंट. सो दैट आई विल बी टॉकिंग इन द फर्स्ट क्लास, बिकॉज sequence matters when you are completely unprepared. But when you are a little bit prepared, I would say, you're prepared a little bit, so obviously sequence hardly matters. Still, we'll try to follow up very scientific sequence, although the scientific terms, that scientific term doesn't go that way here. Next, critical literary theory. Unit 21 is all about European philosophical trends that influence the trajectory of dominant literature. Okay. So उसमें obviously रोसो आ सकते हैं, वॉल्टेयर आ सकते हैं, उसमें हेडिकियर आ सकता है, उसमें नित्शे, and that starts from the beginning, like Aristotle, Plato, Horace, the main, Spinoza, many names. And next, glossary of literary terms. Obviously, Abraham's kitab that we all are quite aware of, who are actually associated with English literature, comparative literature. Unit 23 is about how to read a poem or an extract from a narrative or a drama. Why I have included this kind of comprehensive unit, I would say this kind of comprehensive thing in a unit, because when the questions are directly asked from comprehension, generally what you have observed obviously in the earlier year examinations, we just cannot attend all the questions, or probably we just cannot correct all the questions. कहीं ना कहीं तो थोड़ा gap रह जाता है. तो इसी reason के लिए obviously I have thought of somehow sharing or interacting with you how to read a poem, or probably the next, I would say, an extract. Next, culture, media, and literature, adaptation of literary text into cinemas or new medias, questions aata hai. Digital humanities. Next, American literature, different trends, movements, text authors. Focus कहाँ पे होना चाहिए? 19th and 20th century. Diaspora and literature, Canadian, Australian literature, Caribbean literature, बहुत question आता है, because these are the new trend literature, you could say. I have not included indigenous literature, ज़्यादा question उसमें से नहीं आते हैं. Question ही नहीं आते हैं उस हिसाब से देखा जाए तो. Except I think in CUCET there are few. African literature. Next, 28, translation theories and awards. Awards is very important because awards, why I'm saying is translation theories is very important also. Awards, why it's important, because you can at least be familiar with the important names. जिन लोगों के book आपको शायद ध्यान से मतलब थोड़ा theme, genre, adaptation, क्यों लिखा गया, कॉन्टेक्स्ट, ये सब चीज जानना पड़ेगा. तो किन लोगों का जानना पड़ेगा? तो अवार्ड्स बहुत क्लियर कर देता है वो लिस्ट. बट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द अवार्ड्स ऑफ नॉट ऑब्वियसली द only the global awards, but I'm also talking about, I'm including like Shahitya Academy, Ganpit. So I have a chart, so we'll talk about it, how to read and probably how to remember, and how to simply touch upon different authors, how to simply use the idea of hyperlink study that I'll be discussing later, to know about a few writers and their works. So that's it for your study plan. Hope to see you, and hope we'll be meeting again and soon. So that's it for today, and obviously stay tuned. Do like, share, and subscribe EXAMVAT, and please, I would rather request you to just get hooked up to EXAMVAT for the English MA preparation. The new video is on way regarding the books, and obviously the class is like starting. So obviously as soon as possible, if you would like to join, so you can set me. For other subjects, there are some other teachers also. I would definitely suggest you guys, if you are obviously a fast timers, or probably you have been just exhausted giving exams, so आप लोगों को जो अगर लगता है कि इस बार चाहिए, मतलब अपने पसंद के यूनिवर्सिटी है, JNU खास करके, तो obviously go and join EXAMVAT. Bye. Stay tuned.